feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it tickers.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the post-show wrap-up of the Arkansas Shrimp Tank podcast. I'm your host, Rich Jensen, along with my co-host, David Sims, and our special guest today, Gina Radke of Galley Support Innovations. I think I got that one right.
You got it right.
That's
right.
Hey, every week on the post-show wrap-up, we like to bring you highlights of the full podcast. If you missed the podcast, go to arkansas.shrimptankpodcast.com. Catch the entire thing because there's a lot of really good information there. When you get a CEO of the class and caliber of Gina, you want to listen, you want to get all that free information you
CEO under 40.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
I mean,
we made sure of that.
That's right.
Yes.
And you gotta listen to the podcast and listen to all the accolades that she's done. You should have seen the stuff she did before she was 20. It was amazing. So we have a great white swimming through the shrimp tank here.
That's right.
And we have had just a great time and learned a lot. And one of the things, Gina, that you shared and share with our viewers is you talked about learning from failure and the worst mistake that you made as a leader of this business. Would you share that with our viewers here?
Sure. Absolutely. The worst mistake I made was probably how I put everything on employees in the beginning, and I had one quit, and that's how I learned. And when he quit, he told me, he said, "This is what I do. This is not who I am." And so I've made some financial mistakes, but the human mistakes are the ones that you really learn from.
Wow.
So,
And I think you said that happened during a real growth phase. So you were under a lot of stress.
It did,
and
yes.
so you want to drive everybody like you as the
yes.
CEO.
And because this being an entrepreneur, being a CEO, that is who I am. You know, it's who I am and what I do, and that's not true for everyone. And having to realize that and know that that's okay, that they're valuable in their position, and that not everyone has to be like me.
Yeah. That's really good.
And one of the other things that Gina talked about, which I would like you to talk about on the video here, is you talked about one of the most important things is to find your replacement and hire them now.
Yes.
And I thought, how depressing for the guy that's going to be your replacement, because you might have 20 years left.
I know, right? You know, I do feel bad for him sometimes. Every once in a while, I make sure that, you know, he still likes me and he's not going to knock me off and take over the business.
I'm tired of waiting.
Yeah. So, well, and I think it's very, very important to find your replacement. One, because it frees you up to do more. You know, there's the old phrase, are you working in the business or are you working on the business?
Right.
So if you find your replacement, it allows you to work on rather than in. And also, let them go. You know, you mentioned golden handcuffs,
Right,
you know,
right.
and I try not to have any. I try to just really let him run until, I always say, go until you get a no, you know, and not even that anymore. He'll come and we talk about it and say, what do you want to do? You know, what do you think is a good thing? And he has better ideas than I do sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things we learned in talking with Gina is she gives us great quotes. And I just thought of, I'm not really quoting you, but you talked about golden handcuffs, but maybe it should be, that term should be changed to golden incentives. You know, because it's much more positive.
Yeah,
You talk
it is,
about there was a quote there. I don't remember exactly, but have the wisdom to hire people smarter than yourself, or what is that quote?
Have the humility to
be smart enough to hire people smarter than you, but be wise enough to let them do their job.
Let them do their job.
One of the things that a huge mistake I think people make is I see them hire these bright minds and then they say, sit over there in the corner and stay.
And don't let them.
And because they're afraid to be upstaged, you know, and you just can't do that. If you want to take your company to the next level, you have to let people do what they're good at.
And when you think about it, if you're also not just the CEO, but an equity owner of the company, that's wonderful because you hire your replacement. All the stress goes away, but you still collect those dividends or K1s.
Right, yeah. I haven't told him that, though. We need to keep that on the hush.
And that's one of the things that our viewers need to know, and you should listen more to the podcast about. It's very unique that a husband and wife couple at y'all's age already have your replacements identified and working for you. That is way ahead of the game with your succession planning. Very forward thinking. That's vision at work. And you talked also about vision and about the process of having a vision and how it deals down to your processes, particularly in manufacturing for you, and how it helps remove stress in the company. Share with our viewers about that.
Yes. Well, if you have a huge vision, but you don't have a process on how to get to that vision, it becomes very stressful for your employees. They have the ideas that they don't know exactly what they're doing, and so, you know, they're constantly having to exert that mental effort of, you know, how do I do this and how do I do that? And when it's the process, it's the same thing over and over. Right. And so they know exactly what to go to, and they can use that mental capacity to maybe look at some innovations, maybe how to make the process better, as opposed to how do I do this again?
Yeah.
You know, how do I restart this?
Yeah.
So
There's a lot more on the podcast about this. Really good. So.
Great. Well, Gina, we want to thank you so much for coming on the program today. For those who want to learn more about your company or just kind of talk with you and Wade and learn, and I think about I don't know how many of our viewers actually have aircraft manufacturing that would come to find out more, but just about what you've done as a company
Running
and
a
how things are
business
going.
and,
How would they get a hold of you or find out more?
Well, our website is galleysupport.com. I'm on all social media as Gina Radke, so no spaces, just all one word. And I actually love to interact with people via Twitter. I have a woman that, and we have lunch about 4 times a year now, who heard me speak, connected through Twitter, and now we, kind of have a good relationship, and
Wow.
I love it.
That's
So.
really neat. Really neat.
Well, hey, next week on the tank, we're going to have Natalie Gadati of Gadati Communications. Looking forward to this. I was sharing with Gina our first interaction with her. You have to tune in next week to hear about that, but it was quite amusing. So until next week, stay safe. If you want to hear the whole podcast, download it at arkansas.shrimptankpodcast.com. And remember, in the business world, to become a shark, we all start out as shrimp.